What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian 180, and this is my review for the May 31st episode of AEW Dynamite. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content or news and the variety of things that we release. Follow me, Dedrian 180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. So, tonight's AEW Dynamite episode, man, this was a fantastic show. If you've been watching AEW since the beginning and you enjoy watching AEW Dynamite, this was one of those standard Dynamites that in the past, man, it's going to be 4 years that we've grown accustomed to watching AEW Dynamite, if that makes any sense. The pacing was great, the action was great, the crowd. Yes, the San Diego crowd was amazing. They were loud. For me, the highlight of the night with the San Diego crowd was when Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita came out. I have never, let me phrase that, never, not never, but it's been a while since I've heard a crowd passionately boo someone like that in AEW in a while. I mean, that was glaring and just loud, and I was like, man, Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita got some heat. Plus, also, we got to keep in context that it is San Diego, and of course, that's somewhat the Young Bucks stomping ground. So, put the two and two together. There you go. But yeah, this show was great. Um, the action, the video packages. I think the only audio blip there was during Adam Cole's entrance, which was like, I don't know if that was by mistake or like, somewhat planned. I don't know. Um it was real quick. They it was like his music played, then it stopped, and it played again. So it was like they caught it real quick. So I don't know. They're getting that stuff fixed out and everything. But man, overall, I enjoyed this show. It was fun. Like I said, if you are a fan of AEW and you enjoy watching AEW Dynamite, or you're curious after what transpired at Double or Nothing, this was a good Dynamite show, and you can get a sense and feel of the potential future of AEW Dynamite, especially with the addition of Collision on June 17th, and also with the match card that was announced for AEW Rampage. You can kind of sense what might be the future of AEW Rampage, which is like, man, if you're a fan of AEW, you're going to enjoy what they put out in the next couple of months. It feels that way. There is more stability than there was last year, this time, around this time last year. So it just feels like there's a cohesiveness within AEW. Now, again, things can change or what have you. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's fun. It's fun to see this. I'm enjoying it, but man, I enjoyed this AEW Diamond. And I'm going to continue this with the announcement that Tony Khan made. He announced that CM Punk will be returning at AEW Collision, the debut episode in Chicago at the United Center. I'm happy about that because I got my tickets. I will be in attendance. So I will be dropping some type of footage or what have you. But I'm excited about that. That crowd in San Diego popped when Tony Khan made that announcement. I know a few people were like, man, why did they announce it and not keep it as a surprise? Well, the first thing is, if you keep it as a surprise, it's kind of like trying to recreate the magic that you had the first time when he returned after 8 years not being in the ring. So it's kind of like beating a dead horse. So it's like, okay, we could keep it a secret when it's not a secret, and we could also just, hey, it's the last Dynamite of May. Tomorrow's going to be June. Let's start the month off, with the talk of CM Punk debuting at AEW Collision, and okay, who's he going to feud with? Is there going to be something with him and the Elite, and what's gonna happen there, and all the talk that's gonna be happening up until June 17th, the debut episode of AEW Collision. So I think it was uh, a good thing to do. If you try to, again, recreate the magic of, you hint towards it on your programming and everything, it's already been done. And, to try to do that again, especially with someone of CM Punk's magnitude, and ever since he's dropped the title at All Out and everything else that's happened since then, he's still the talk of pro wrestling, and there's been numerous of times where he's been trending. So um, people love talking about CM Punk. It is what it is, but yeah, I'm excited for AEW Collision and just how that show's going to shape out and what's going to be happening there, and see how it goes. And yeah, that crowd was electric. I know a few people on social media. I believe it was Phil Lindsay from Grassroots. Shout out to Phil Lindsay. He tweeted the worst kept secret uh, in wrestling, because it's like we kind of knew or sensed that, okay, CM Punk is going to be there, and it's been speculated. So it's like, all right, we got it official. Like, yay! And not being condescending or dismissive towards it's like, okay, we knew, but like it's like a relief. Like, yes, now we know he's coming back. So now we can really uh, see what AEW is going to do with this new show Collision, and the talk of the brand split and the transfer porter and stuff like that. Just see how that all plays out. So I mean, it's a good time to be an AEW wrestling fan. From there, on the show, one thing that also stuck out to me, of course, the CM Punk thing stuck out, but um, there was a backstage segment with Alex Marvez and Hangman Page and the Young Bucks, and Alex Marvez uh, looks at Hangman Page and he asks him, I heard that Kenny Omega left the country. And Hangman Page, before this segment ends, he's like, yeah, Kenny Omega left the country, but he didn't go to Canada. And it's like, oh. So again, it goes back to Double or Nothing. They're hinting without hinting that we could see the one Kota Ibushi and possibly someone else joining Kenny Omega to take on the Blackpool Combat Club with the Elite. So we shall see where that goes. But I liked how they that one line just made that whole segment. Alex Marvez, yeah, I heard he left the country back to Canada. It's like, nope, he left the country, but not to Japan, or not Japan, not to Canada. Forgive me. But no, that's where most people thought when Hangman Page said that line. It's like, okay, he went to Japan then. So we shall see what's going to transpire with Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, with this Elite Blackpool Combat feud. I enjoyed this feud. The Blackpool Combat Club had a fantastic match against the Lucha Bros and Bandito. Man, the Blackpool Combat Club has been the most aggressive and violent heel faction in all of pro wrestling. I'm enjoying their work. I'm enjoying Bryan Danielson's work, Yuta, Claudio, and John Moxley. You can tell that they're having fun, just beating the hell out of people, and it shows in their matches and everything. Like, it's very violent and intense, and it's just like, man, I haven't seen this type of aggression and intensity and grit since, damn, the late 80s in Jim Crockett promotions. So it's a fun time, again, to be a fan of AEW. So I'm looking forward to see what's going to transpire next with the Kenny Omega not returning to Canada. So we shall see. Then we had Jay White and Juice Robinson call out FTR. And as they came out, Tony Schiavone interviewed him and everything. I'm like, okay, where's this going to go? Are we going to continue to get Ricky Starks and Juice? It's one of those feuds where it's not bad, but it feels like it's just going around in circles. Like, it's like, okay, it's a cool feud. Like, people like Jay White. People like Juice Robinson. People like Ricky Starks, but it's like, okay, we want it to go somewhere and have some type of stakes, but it seems like it's just they're feuding the feud. And I like this because Jay White and Juice Robinson, they're very condescending to Tony Schiavone. Jay White, man, there's a reason why he was a New Japan World Champion. Um, there's a reason, and he showed it in this segment. And by them calling out FTR, um, I like this where this is going. Of course, they sucker punched Dax Hardwood. They started attacking um, Dax Hardwood and not Dax Hardwood, Cash Wheeler, and Ricky Starks comes out and makes the save and everything. And he's like, next week it's gonna be me and you on Dynamite. So it's gonna be fun Dynamite next week. But I like the prospect of having FTR feud with Jay White and Juice Robinson. On FTR side, it just felt like, okay, they're the champs, but it's like, okay, it feels like AEW is focusing more, like their creative focus is more on the trios title than the tag team titles. So it's just like, okay, FTR, they're the world champs, and they're feuding with Juice Robinson and Jay White. It's like, you know what? I wouldn't mind Jay White and Juice Robinson eventually dethroning FTR and them having a back and forth feud. Of course, me personally, I would love for Jay White to be in either the TNT title hunt or the world title hunt with MJF. So I don't know. We'll see where that goes with FTR and Juice Robinson. But I love that segment. I really thought it was cool. Like I said, it's one of those things that happen on Dynamite where you're just like, "Ooh, I didn't expect this to happen so soon, but I like where this might go." And of course, this goes back to Double or Nothing when they tried attacking Ricky Starks and FTR came to their aid. So it's building there. And also, the other thing we got to think about is, okay, so who's going to even the odds? Because it's 3-on-2. So who is Bullet Club Gold going to reveal as their equalizer? Is it going to be a new member? Is it going to be El Phantasmo from New Japan Pro Wrestling? At first, I looked at it like, are they preparing the way for like Ace Austin and Chris Bay to eventually feud with FTR? Like, is that going to happen? So I don't know. It's real interesting, but that's that. I'm intrigued by that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Then we had the Acclaim. They came out to Renee Paquette. They did an interview, and basically they're like, they lost to House of Black at Double or Nothing, and they were like, man, we really wanted Daddy Ass Billy Gunn to have championship gold one more time. So apparently that seems the focus of the Acclaim, that they're going after the trios titles, and they just want to get Daddy Ass Billy Gunn to hold championship gold one more time. So it was a really punctual segment. It got to the point. So again, another segment on AEW television where the last verbiage of that segment made it, where it's like, okay, they want to get him gold. All right, Hangman Page, Adam or Kenny Omega, he left the country, but he didn't go to Canada. So it's just those little things that I've been seeing lately on AEW television. I'm like, okay, this is adding context to their stories, and it's leaving you with the within their segments, they're leaving cliffhangers throughout the show, which they weren't doing that before. Like, it was just kind of like, okay, all right, we're gonna go here, but now it's like they're leaving cliffhangers in their segments. So I love it. Then we had Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. They were fighting Toa Leona and Khan. They eventually defeated them, and towards the end of the match, or after the match, you had Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, and Prince Nana head to the ring, and of course they were attempting to attack them. Sting comes out, even the odd, they leave. So as that happened, I'm like, man, is Swerve Strickland scouting Orange Cassidy for the AW International Championship? And of course, next week we're gonna get Orange Cassidy versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW International Championship. Me personally, I hope Swerve Strickland wins that championship belt. I think it's the right time for Orange Cassidy to drop the title. It just feels like now it's starting to get to that point where it's like, okay, he needs like he needs to move on. Me personally, I tweeted this. If and when Orange Cassidy drops the AEW International Championship, I do feel he should be the one to dethrone MJF as the AEW World Champion. I strongly believe that. I know we had the Four Pillars match, but Orange Cassidy has been on a run, a year-long run, actually 1 year since last year's Forbidden Door. Like he has been on a run and he's been consistent. He's been over. He's had quality matches. He's elevated the AEW International Championship to the point where it's right now it surpassed the TNT Championship as far as just I don't want to say prestige, but just the match quality, the depth, and just like okay, this is a title that's like man, it just has that. Whenever I want to watch that match for the AEW International Championship, as opposed with the TNT Championship, it's like okay, that's cool, but man, his match has been really good. So um, we got Swerve Strickland, Orange Cassidy next week on AEW Dynamite. Will Swerve Strickland defeat and dethrone Orange Cassidy as the AEW International Championship? We got to wait next week and see, but looking forward to seeing how that plays out, man. But that's going to be fun. That's going to be a really good match. And Swerve Strickland has had some really, really fantastic matches in the last several months. And also, we got to think about this. If Swerve Strickland defeats Orange Cassidy, they still haven't tied a bow on the Swerve Strickland Keith Lee feud. So, is Swerve Strickland going to get the title? And is that going to lead to Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee fighting over the AEW International Championship? I like it. Hopefully that feud comes to an end and we see where that goes. But yeah, Swerve Strickland, Orange Cassidy, that whole thing, and Sting. What is it? Yeah, Sting coming out and everything. I had to think about that because I'm like, wait a minute. I got the Jack Perry segment and that's this match mixed up. But yeah, let's see what the embassy already is the 6-man ROH tag team champion. So a lot of cool things again. A subtle cliffhanger, not as glaring as the Acclaim segment and the Hangman Page, but more of a visual cliffhanger. Like, okay, Swerve, they're going after, he's just looking at Darby Allin or Orange Cassidy. They set up the match, so it's like, okay, so Swerve wants the AEW International Championship without saying a word. He didn't say one word, so it's like, okay. So looking forward to that. Then, speaking of Jack Perry, Hook came out for. I didn't expect this to happen. This segment where Hook came out for an interview with Tony Schiavone. And AEW's been doing that lately where they have these impromptu interviews and somewhat matches as of late that, aren't on the card that they normally post on their social media accounts. So he comes out, Jose the Assistant, Preston Vance, and Dralistico come out and was it Dralistico? Yeah, I believe it's true. Was it Dralistico? I think so. So they come out, they beat down Hook. Jack Perry comes out. So apparently, after Double or Nothing, Jack Perry is reuniting with Hook. So you have that pairing, which was a really cool pairing. I believe it was a few weeks ago, like a couple months ago, or a few months ago, or something like that. And just abruptly, like subtly separating them and everything, but now they're bringing them back together because they had a lot of chemistry. The fans were behind them. They had a great look. They're two young top talents in AEW. So it's like, this is going to be interesting. They're a young tag team. You put them together. The tag team division in AEW is kind of like in this unique place where they have tag teams for, certain tag teams for a couple months. Then those tag teams form a trio and go into the trios title. And then some of the trios teams, they break off into tag teams back. So it's kind of like you have the tag teams here and the trios teams here, and they kind of float back and forth, uh, you know, e- each division and everything. So I don't have a problem with it. I just wish they would have more, the depth of the trios and the tag teams would be balanced, because it does seem like right now the trios division is more, has more depth than the tag team division. But so yeah, Jack Perry and Hook are reuniting. They kind of alluded to it, so you guys get what I'm saying. Also, man, oh man, this week's AW Rampage. I would highly recommend you guys watch it. Normally, the past few weeks, of course, AW Rampage has been more, I'll watch it, I'll DVR it or something like that. And as I mentioned earlier in this review, that it does feel like this week after Double or Nothing, we're kind of getting a little preview, a glimpse of a preview of the tone of AEW Dynamite, Rampage, and of course on June 17th, the debut of AEW Collision. We'll get a tone for that. So it's like we're kind of getting a preview of the tone that AEW is going to set going forward, Forbidden Door and All In and All Out. We're kind of getting the sense of, okay, this is what AEW is going to be for the rest of the year. Of course, with the brand split and the transfer portal. So it's kind of like we're getting that, if you want to call it punctuality, but also just structure and everything. So, guys you didn't see on Dynamite, we're going to see them on Collision. So, I mean, it's fun, man. And I think AEW is the place that can really have two strong shows. Let me phrase it. I don't want to say strong. They could have strong shows, but more, they could have two balanced shows that are giving quality shows. Where, Dynamite, tonight's Dynamite was really great. And of course, then you have Saturday. Collision can put on a similar show. So it's something that AEW, in the 4 years, they've really haven't capitalized on, is having that consistent quality. Some shows are here, then next week it's like here, then, the following week the show's here, then the following week the show's like down here as far as just quality and pacing and just that whole thing. Then the next week the show's up here, then the following week it just stays here, then the next week it drops. So it's just, it just fluctuates. The quality fluctuates. And I wouldn't say like it's just terrible, but the standard that they've set, there's just a parameter that, those who watch AEW programming, there's a quality that we're used to, and it's just like, okay, we kind of want it to stay here and not fluctuate. Some shows, again, it's pro wrestling. Some shows aren't gonna be that, oh my God, this is just the greatest thing since sliced bread and all this other stuff. Some shows just be like, I don't care too much for this, but I really like that. So, yeah, it's what AEW could possibly do. But yeah, this week's AEW Rampage, you're gonna have Willow Nightingale and Emi Sakura. We're gonna have Zack Sabre Jr. and Action Andretti, and we're gonna have Drolistico, Vikingo, and Commander in the trios. And I believe, let me see what other matches are on this show? Because I think I'm leaving out one match. Oh, there we go. We got Katsuri Shibata versus Lee Moriarty. That's the match that I was missing on my notes. So that looks like a very fun episode of AEW Rampage. I've mentioned this on several reviews for Rampage that um, Rampage coming on right after SmackDown, it's like a complimentary alternative to what you watched on SmackDown. And that's how most of the wrestling that's happening in 2023 is being presented. That it's a alternative, it's a complimentary alternative to whatever you like or whatever you see. So it's like, okay, I watch Monday Night Raw, and you watch NXT, and then it's like, oh, I watch AEW. Like, man, this is completely different from what I see in Raw and NXT. And then you watch Ring of Honor and Impact, and it's like, oh wow, this is completely different from watching Raw, NXT, and Dynamite. And then on Fridays, you got SmackDown. Oh, this is different from Impact, Ring of Honor, and AEW. And then Rampage. Oh, this is different from WWE. And then of course the other wrestling programs that are out there. Wow, Women of Wrestling. Wow, this is different from all the other stuff that I'm seeing. So, this Friday's Rampage is going to be a really good card. My match I'm looking forward to watching is Dralistico, Vikingo, and Commander. That's going to be a dope, man. That's going to be dope. So yeah, this episode of AEW Dynamite, like I said, man, this was a fun, fantastic show. That San Diego crowd made this episode. For me, I believe the show just went to another level after Tony Khan made the announcement that CM Punk will be returning at AEW Collision in Chicago, June 17th. And that was, let me check my notes to see where that was, that announcement. Let me see. It was, man, where was that announcement? Okay. It was right before the 7:38 picture-in-picture commercial. So it was literally in the first hour, the first hour. So after that, man, I just felt like the show just went to another level. Like the excitement, the enthusiasm, the whole show after that just went to another level. And I mean, let's see how this works out with CM Punk at Collision, and the roster is going to be over there. But yeah, this Dynamite, this was a great Dynamite to have after the Double or Nothing card that they have. And if you guys remember my previous reviews leading up to Double or Nothing, I always said and mentioned that it just felt like Double or Nothing was the season finale for all the stories that have happened since Full Gear. Like, it's just wrapping up. It's like, okay, this is like we're finishing it up, but once June hits, like, this is AEW's going in a really exciting structured era, so to speak. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what AEW is gonna do going forward with Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. And again, like I said, CM Punk and how this plays out. Swerve Strickland next week against Orange Cassidy. Kenny Omega, he left the country, but he didn't go to Canada. So nice cliffhanger there. They claim Billy Gunn. We want to give him one more go. Nice cliffhanger. And again, that's something that I'm noticing about AEW that they're doing. They're leaving cliffhangers in a lot of their segments. So it's like, okay, I see where this is going. And it's a more structured cliffhanger in their stories. So, yeah, I enjoyed the show. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode of AEW Dynamite. Comment, leave your comment and everything. Again, follow us, House of Wrestling, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification so that you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me Dedrian180 on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Man, can't wait for AW Rampage. Looking forward to actually Impact too, because Impact Wrestling Under Siege was like wild. That Steve Macklin um, PCO match was, whew, man, that was wild. And also Trinity doing her thing, but see what happens there. But man, like I always say, and like I always tweet, wrestling fans, let's have some fun because there's a lot of wrestling and things are going to get good. Not just in AEW, but in pro wrestling in general. So let's just enjoy it. We're being entertained. Let's have fun with it. So with that, this is my AEW Dynamite review.